Okay, I wanted to record a quick module here on the importance and the value of doing what I call culture events. So, culture events, this is where you build the culture. It's really where you build the friendship within your organizations. And here's the thing, a lot of times you may have a really good relationship. You may be really good at facilitating friendships between you and the leaders on your team, but there may be other leaders on your team who don't have that same ability. And when you create events, culture-based events, then that are not based on business building. It's not a training event. It's not a building event. It is just a culture. It's a relationship event. And the whole theme of this is the team that plays together stays together. And if you have a really driven personality, personally, I'm very red, very driven. I want to win, and it's like I'm willing to work as hard as I have to work to win. And you can have that philosophy. That's about 15% of the population. 15 to 20% of the population may be like that. The rest, they need the relationship side, right? And so if it's always about driving, then you lose a lot of people. So again, the team that plays together stays together. And what I used to do is I'd fly into having a global business. I'd fly into a country, I'd do an event, I'd fly in the night before, I'd do an event, I'd leave the next morning. And then I'd do that with 3, 4, 5 countries, right? And it was efficient, could hit a lot of countries and in and out. And what happens is I didn't spend a lot of time building relationships and friendships. Now, I could create a lot of results, but wasn't really bonding people together. And my mentor, he actually flew to London to come do an event with me. And he's like, Matt, you've got to stop and smell the roses. It's a long-term business. And what creates, long-term businesses is long-term relationships. And so we spent the day, we went around London, we got in the open air buses, and all the people who came with us, they were all from London. And in my mind, I was like, they've probably already done this. It's going to be cheesy for them. And what's interesting is even though they live there, most of the people who were on the tour with us, they had never actually done an open air bus. They hadn't done it even though they lived there. And so we had speakers, we're playing music, we're laughing and singing songs. I mean, we're just being silly, on and off the bus, doing funny stuff, going to restaurants, went to some bars that night. And it was either about a week or a month after, I ended up having one of the guys from London there who was on the team. He actually told me that was the best day of his life. The best day of his life. I mean, just going around on an open air bus. And I was so shocked by that. And, it just goes to show most people are not living super exciting lives. They don't have these kind of really deep friendships and so forth with a lot of people. And so when you facilitate that, it really bonds people. It locks people into you and into your company. And so some different things that I've done over the years, movie nights, it's just as simple as sending out a message through social media, texting, calling, emailing, and saying, hey, on Friday night, we're going to go see the new release of this movie, or we're going to see this movie, and people go to the movie and they all bond together. And what's interesting is it's not a business building event. We never talk about our company or our products, but people end up bringing their wives or their husbands or their girlfriends and boyfriends who had no interest in doing the business, but because they see the relationships and the people, they end up actually getting excited about it. In fact, we've had so many cases where people will bring their prospect to one of the culture events where we don't even talk about what we're doing, but because they like the people so much, they want to join just because of the people. So another example, you can do potluck events. Everyone get together for a barbecue. You can do it in homes and parks. We've done amusement parks. In fact, we did 4,000 people at Six Flags Over Texas. That was an amazing event. We did that about 1.5 to 2 years ago, and people are still talking about that today, about how much fun that was. Go-kart racing. One of the most fun times ever was, go-kart racing. You got that competitive spirit you're bringing out. Everyone's racing around the track. Vacations. So just in the last year, I did two vacations. I did climb Mount Kilimanjaro, had 13 buddies that went with me that are all leaders, mostly in my group. I had a couple Crestline friends that I had come as well. Did an 18,000 square foot villa in Puerto Vallarta that we rented. 18,000 square feet, 4-story, staff of 8, waiting on his hand and foot, and not not a business building event. It was just a vacation. But several of my leaders I had on that trip, and that really bonded us together, spending 5 days on vacation together. So, vacation events, you can do production-based events. You can either do like top producer, whoever enrolls the most people. What I would encourage you to do as well is you really want to focus on, have at least some focus on people who are doing a little. So something you can do is a get one event. Anyone who enrolls one person in the month, they get to come to a special dinner. Doesn't mean you pay for it. In fact, everyone splits it up. Not a fancy dinner, just it's an opportunity to get together. You call it a rock event, a results-only club. So you could do a rock event. You have to enroll at least one person in order to go to it. Or it could be, one of the lower level ranks. You have to be this rank, or you can come if you enroll one person. So that's a great rock event. So the value of the events is a couple things. If you've got a training event coming up with your company, you've got your company convention. Now, you're going to get a lot of the value out of the event is going to be the belief that it instills in your people. It's going to be the training. So part of the value of the event is the event itself, but a big part of the value of the event is the relationships that get forged outside of the event. So it's, going out afterwards, it's having a beer together, it's going to dinner together, it's building that relationship. And if it's for you, if it's all about money, I want to produce, I'm going to go to bed early. No, man, as a leader, when you go to a training event, you're working. And you're not just working in the event, you're working outside the event, creating those relationships. So listen, the purpose of this module is one thing. It's to lock it into your mind that relationships are the glue that create the bond for long-term success.